This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Go big blue, go Giants. Go big blue, New York Giants.
God, it's great to be a Cowboy, isn't it? This is how we do stuff. This is the Cowboys. We're trying to do something. Be a believer. It's time. Believe in the football team. It's time. It's your time.
It's our time right now. 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 It's our time right now.
He was a Giant, and he was a Cowboy. Now these two former rivals have joined forces to bring you the most insightful, perceptive, and controversial sports talk podcast in America. Former Dallas Cowboys defensive end Jim Jeffcoat locks horns with former New York Giants wide receiver Byron Williams. And now, here's Byron Williams and Jim Jeffcoat.
Good evening, good evening. We're here.
What's going on, Jim?
Hey, what's up, Byron?
Man, the last week of the season.
There you go. It's hump day. Hump day.
Call it hump.
Yeah,
Get off that hump. Let's go.
Yeah. That's the first day, as you realize, being a pro athlete, that's the first day, especially a football player, that you get to practice for the next team. Now, the Cowboys are a little different because they're in Philly because they play on Saturday.
Yeah, they play Saturday night. I think Saturday night.
There's my guy, Baby J. He told me he's looking forward to a good show. What's up, Big J?
Hey, he always has some great comments. I know that.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to limit some of his comments.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, let's get right into the show. Let's get into it.
Let's
we had a big week, some controversy. Antonio Brown.
Yeah, man, I got so many texts, calls, comments, pictures. Man, I just just one of those things. It's something about those wide receivers at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But here was an interesting thing. I have two of our service to people in my company. They were talking about it, and they said, she said, one of them said, if guys run around like Antonio Bryant with no shirt on, I'd watch a lot of football.
Yeah, I used to hear those comments about those. I love to see those guys wear those tight pants and blah blah blah. But hey, that's football. We bring in the fans. Do what you have to do.
There's no question about it. But let's talk about it because this is a serious issue.
Right.
You can obviously, we're going to both comment on it, but they said obviously he wouldn't go in the game. So Bruce Arians, as a coach, did the right thing. Said, hey, if you don't want to be here, get out of here. And that's the thing. But there's a backstory to it. He's saying that he had a severe ankle injury that he could not go in the game and perform at a high level. He lost almost $2 million.
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, one of the things that you have to do, and you got to be mature minded. You have to go and talk to the coach. Say, hey, I injured myself. I'm 40%, 50%, 60%, whatever the case may be. There's ways to approach it. You just go to your leader. Go to Tom Brady and see if you guys can discuss some things, and don't bring this on yourself in the middle of the season, because man, you put the spotlight on yourself and boom, nothing but negativity went out from there. So it's just not something that you see every day. First time I ever seen something like that. As long as I've been watching football.
Yeah. But see, he did show up at the Brooklyn Nets game and put out a rap song, but he wasn't dancing in it. So his ankle still might be hurt. I'm not giving the guy any excuses on this.
He even made a comment last night I saw too about Ben Roethlisberger, playing his last game at Heinz Field. Maybe he didn't think that he'll probably play his last game. He's thinking that Ben might have some more left in the tank. So, but still, though, you got to be a professional. You got to be mature minded.
I agree, and that's an interesting comment I heard today from one of my friends. What if he was in your locker room? Now, I've had let's just say, unique personalities in my locker room. And you look at the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers is a unique personality. But Absolutely. As long as you perform, people can live with it. But once your time is over, they're trying to get rid of you. Once you can't perform, but as long as you perform, they're going to try to. T.O. was the perfect example of that.
Yeah. I got a chance to know T.O. really, really good because I did football camps with him. And as he was leaving, while he was playing here in Dallas, we put some football camps on with kids. I mean, man, just perfect with the kids. You never thought he'd have any kind of flaws or anything. He's real competitive. He always wanted the football. And, he wanted to throw him the ball. If you could throw him the ball every play, he's happy. But, of course, the game is not like that. It's a team concept. Sometimes you have to run off coverages for your other teammates and so forth. But it's one of those things where, you do have these special personalities sometimes, and it can be, you just got to know how to manage those players.
No question. And you got to figure out how to manage it because we had, when we were winning those championships back in the 90s, we had some players like that.
Yeah.
And you had to know how to win. The coaches did a good job. We had a wide receiver coach named Hubert Alexander, who was a tremendous coach, and he could handle those personalities because that's what you're doing. You're dealing with personalities. And obviously Jimmy Johnson did a good job. Even Tom Landry, because he had Drew Pearson, he had Butch Johnson, he had Tony Hill, and guys like that. And he could handle those personalities. And some coaches know how to handle those personalities. And when I was in Buffalo, we had Andrea Reed, who was a tremendous Jerry Butler. He could handle. Marv Levy did that. He handled those personalities.
And I think every team needs to have those special players that's team captains and go out and be able to help know kind of the temperature of the players, and then be able to help them navigate through life. And some of the stuff that happened off the field can create a lot of problems and so forth. But you want to be able to make sure you don't have any chaotic moments like what happened this past weekend.
Yeah. Jaron asked, what's the best way to manage those players? If they're stars, Jimmy Johnson said the most truest statement I've ever heard was he doesn't treat every player the same. He treats them different. And, if Troy Aikman is late for a meeting or falls asleep in a meeting, he said, I'm going to tell him to go get something to wake him up or go get some coffee. He cut a guy named John Roper, who we just traded for from Chicago.
Yeah.
And he was making a statement. You better be good if you're going to mess up.
Yeah, and that's what I like about certain coaches. I mean, certain coaches, once you get into their system, you know who's leading and who's going to say what. And one thing I can say about Bill Parcells, he knew how to handle all of us. And, he knew us from our history from when we was growing up to the time we get there to the facilities. And, everybody knew that Lawrence Taylor was a special athlete, but he had a special way and a special relationship with Lawrence Taylor. And never had no problem for us him performing on the football field. At the end of the day, you're going to get the most out of your players if you have everything. And then you got your leaders, your captains or whatever on your teams got to step up and make sure that you can help, just say a word or two and just put them to the side.
Yeah.
Little things like that really matter. So you got to have some type of order for his leadership and how you approach. And it just remind them, hey man, this is our livelihood. This is what we know. We finna get ready for this playoff run. This is what's important. We need you.
Yeah,
everybody that's important. Those 53 men that's a part of this team. Everybody got an important role.
No question. And you look at with Keyshawn Johnson, same thing. We had him in obviously in Dallas for a short period of time, but New York, Tampa Bay, and Bill had him in New York, and he knew that he can control those personalities.
And even when he came here in Dallas, he had T.O. He had Tony Romo, and he was able to tell these players how to gel together.
Yeah, and somebody said about responsibility. Your responsibility is, first of all, you got to control those players, but to win games. And if those players can help you win games, then you make them accountable. You get them on there. you got to make sure they're on the field and in the locker room Sundays. Perfect example is Charles Haley would come in the locker room about 30 minutes before the game.
Yep.
Get ready to play. But he played as hard as he can. If you got a kind of player that plays hard when he gets on the field, that's the kind of player you want.
Hey, I had Charles Haley text me 3 weeks ago, and he cussed me out and everything, and then New Year's Eve he wished me Happy New Year's. Yeah. I couldn't do nothing with that because that's just him. You know, you got to know how to deal with him, but you got to love him too because he have his moments.
He doesn't mean, and I know Charles and played obviously, but he doesn't mean harm. That's just his personality, and we know he's got chemical imbalance issues, so that's just a part of it. But let's move on from that. I hope if Antonio Bryant has some mental issues, I hope we can. I mentioned before the show, this has all started really getting bad after he got hit by, you talk about it, Montez Burvich going across the middle.
Yeah.
Ever since then, he hasn't been the same.
Well, those hits like that can affect you. And then, you know, we just not trying to start addressing, especially with the NFLPA, we start addressing mental illness and mental alertness or whatever. And we're trying to find help and get more advice because this is kind of like a new part of what we are trying to dive into to help the players to be able to manage off the field and in their home life and so forth. So it's something that we all need to continue to work on.
Mm-hmm. No question. Oh, he had to go there. I'm not going to touch that.
I did get my jaw broken, and let me tell you, man, get that jaw broken, boy. That right there, that knocked me out. I tell you what, it's not on the bottom of the pile. I got knocked out, and but yeah, but I was raised right. My daddy put a stick to my butt too, and I knew how to get back in line. So, but yeah, it's part of how you grew up too. You know, some
it really is.
Yeah,
it really is. I agree with that 100%. Let's talk a little bit about some other things that are going on in the NFL. The Philadelphia Eagles, they've been playing really well, but now they got COVID issues.
Yeah. Man, they really turned everything around. The way they approach these games, they still starting off a little slow, but man, they playing team football. I mean, players are stepping up. They making good plays. They behind Jalen Hurts. And that's another thing. Did you see the stands collapse when you get ready to walk into the locker room?
At the Washington football team stadium.
Yeah.
FedEx Stadium.
Yeah. Man, that was kind of a scary moment, man.
It was, and it almost hit Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
If you look at it, he was helping people up.
And the good thing, you can see that he's mature, becoming a mature-minded player. And immediately he wanted to know if anybody was hurt, the concern. Right. What the stadium what they're gonna do with the stadium, if they're gonna fix the problem, blah blah blah, and not to have this ever happen again. So yeah.
But back to Philly, I think they got 9 players that are on the COVID list now.
Yeah,
play Saturday, so you think that the majority of players with 5 days would be out of quarantine. But what if it happens that they're not?
Yeah, and then the NFL was trying to go back to this daily testing and the 5-day testing, so it might really affect the Eagles and their situation with their players. So so hopefully and this is an early game. It's 1 day earlier than they normally play.
Exactly.
So it probably going to affect them in somewhat. If you got 9 players, it's probably going to affect at least 50% of those players.
Yeah, then you think about this. This is something that we haven't really thought about. A question here we got a question that is struggling for non-football things. Saw me and go Mike Zimmer for elevating Adam Zimmer, his son. Adam Zimmer is the co-coordinator 2 years ago, and he's a co-coordinator with Andre Patterson.
Right.
And we'll talk about that a little later, Jaron. But it's just that there's a lot of nepotism, and in professional sports, because you see it all. Because Norb Turner's son is the OC for obviously he worked with Ron Rivera, and his son is the OC for Washington. Hackett over at Green Bay, Paul Hackett was the coach.
Yeah.
Even the head coach of the Rams, his grandfather was the big time GM. So so there's a lot of nepotism that goes on in pro sports, and you can look at almost every team and see it. Pete Carroll's son worked for him.
Right.
That's the way it is. That's just the way it is. But back to it. Here's a good question: is what if a quarterback got a COVID during the Super Bowl? How would you think the NFL and the teams will react to that?
Well, it'll be heartfelt, but of course they got to sit him down, and he can't play, and the rules are the rules. But and that's the key thing. That's why I think you have a better chance of not getting COVID if you get fully vaccinated. And those things have been seen time and time again. Science still tell the truth. I mean, you're taking a risk, and I just think giving yourself the opportunity to play and fully have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl is once in a lifetime, Harley. You might not never get this chance again.
Yeah. And I think I was listening to you. You can still get COVID, but it's not as severe as if you were unvaccinated. Because
I think they'll let you back quicker too, back in the locker room if you're fully vaccinated.
I agree.
But they do have some crazy rules, and everybody got their own beliefs. So they
do, because Kirk Cousins said after he came back, he said that he wouldn't have been able to play, and he's unvaccinated. He wouldn't have been able to play again Sunday anyway, even if he was vaccinated. I don't know. I don't agree with him. I think if he was vaccinated, it wouldn't have been as severe. He might have been have the opportunity.
Yeah, and I saw where they listed him today that he'll be a starter this Saturday.
Yeah. Now, but that's an interesting thing, and you've talked about that before, is we're in a different era. We've never had anything like this happen with the COVID and things, and now they're talking about fluroma. You can get corona and the flu together. They found one in L.A., and that's the thing. So this is a unique era for everybody, professional sports, and for anybody who deals in professional sports, because really we haven't seen an athlete get severely sick that we know of.
Not yet. I mean, I hadn't seen too many guys. Yeah. And if you start to think about it, most of these sickness started in these cities, major cities.
Yeah, that's true.
Heavily populated areas. So
yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. So let's go on to other things in NFL news. Let's talk about Big Ben.
Big Ben.
I didn't think he was going to. Honestly, I thought the Browns were going to win this game. But Big Ben,
and you have to give credit to the Pittsburgh Steelers fans, man. Steelers Nation, man, they was waving those terrible towels, but the team reacted, the fans reacted, and actually together they put it on Cleveland, man. They I mean, the defense, man, 9 sacks?
Yeah.
Amazing, and Watts, man, those guys, he
had 4 his own self.
4 sacks.
And George, I love you too. Thank you for tuning in. But but this possibly is probably Roethlisberger's last game in Three Rivers Stadium. So,
but you know what I love about what Ben did? He stayed out there on the football field after the game, went around and high five and tap everybody's hand. They were able to get a selfie with him and everything else. And that's what football is all about. And that's giving back and that's letting the people know I really appreciate you too, because there's 2 sides to every coin.
I would agree. And and then now on the other side, Baker Mayfield is getting surgery immediately. He's getting on his sore shoulder and everything. He's getting surgery. But I think they're going to be pretty good next year. I think the Browns have learned the lesson. I think he makes it. Somebody
but you know
asked
what,
me,
though, Jim? I started to call you and see if you can line up a couple of plays for the old line for Cleveland. That number 66, man, he got beat like a drum, man. I say, I know Jeffcoat can go out there and block and slow him down a little bit. I'm gonna see if you had a little bit in the tank.
hey, we got a special guest tonight. Jeffcoat. Jackson, 2-time Grey Cup champion. And he says, does Ben Roethlisberger make it into the Hall of Fame? If he goes and does a little bit of TV, he definitely gonna make it in. But he's
gonna make it in. He gonna make it in. He no doubt. He done won a Super Bowl. He's all-time leader for the Steelers, and he definitely in. He just.
But here's the interesting thing that we don't really think about this. And Jackson, you asked that question. Ben Roethlisberger has never had a losing season, if you think about that, because Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. And who was the player? He's never had another quarterback but Ben Roethlisberger, right?
That's it. That's right. They came in together.
Yeah, they came in together, and he's never had a losing season. So that's pretty interesting. And that'll help him get into obviously the Hall of Fame. But you could think about it. How many quarterbacks can say that? I don't know too many. You might know some that have never had a losing season.
I can't hardly remember too many guys that have never had a losing season.
Yeah, and that's pretty interesting. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool. And it was good to see him go out a winner, Ben. And you never know. They might make it to the playoffs. I don't think they'll go very far, but you never know.
Yeah, it go that one tie. If they make it, it's because that one tie that they had,
Yeah.
Oh, somebody said Bark Starr never had a losing season.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Well, Bark Starr was the guy who drafted me out of college. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was the head coach at Green Bay when I got
drafted. Okay. Yeah. That's good to know. I didn't know that. That's something that's one of those little known facts. Now, how about the Raiders? The Raiders.
Hey, the Raiders are playing good football. Just I'm gonna give a clap for Derek Carr, man. He have really became a leader. I think that's what it was needed. They had some other problems early in the season, but man, the Raiders nobody want to play the Raiders, the Colts, and teams like that because you don't know which team gonna show up.
Yeah. And interesting with the Raiders is they had another issue with a young player who got another DUI.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they had another player, and he was a rookie. He was a rookie wide receiver.
Okay.
That's some of the downfalls of being, like you talked in big cities, but it being in Vegas.
Yeah.
It's not that much long. It wasn't really that long after the game.
Well, the NFL, a lot of people don't know, we have special security for a lot of our players and teams in cities like that too because of the gambling and all the things that go around with off the field. So they might have to just add a little bit more security for the players just to make sure because it's so much to do in Vegas. It's a lot to do in New York. So those cities like that, you have added security for a lot of your players.
They might have to send them to Winnipeg because there's nothing to do in Winnipeg, right, Jackson?
Well, Jackson know all about Winnipeg. So, hey, I know when I went to Winnipeg and played, that wind blew me off the bench one time.
But yeah, the Raiders have been playing good. You got to give them credit. And somebody asked, was Madden looking down on him? John might have been looking down on him.
Yeah. And that's another thing, another lift too. That probably gave him a lift. With Madden, all the attention went to Madden, and that everybody gave their honor to John Madden this week, special attention. He meant everything to football and broadcasting and everything else. So,
no question.
That might be the extra push for the Raiders as well.
Yeah, no question. And then we got big games next week.
Big game.
Playoff implications.
Yeah.
Obviously the Steelers and the Ravens. And we'll talk a little bit about that first. And
okay.
The 49ers and Rams and the Chargers and the Raiders. So let's talk about the Steelers and the Ravens. Obviously, Lamar Jackson will be back this week. But do you think Huntley at this time is playing better this time?
He probably playing, but he ain't go. To me, I would still go with Lamar Jackson. He just bring a whole different dynamic. He make things happen. I mean, the team respond to him. It's his team. They just ain't got it. They ain't got the same vibe. Unless Lamar Jackson's in control and out there on that football field.
Yeah, I think even if Lamar plays, the issue that Baltimore has is, as you saw last week, is their defense. They got so many injuries on their defense. That is not the same defense you've seen for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
I think they got the injuries. They're catching up to them. And you never know what's going to happen with the Steelers. The Steelers, are they going to be explosive enough to scare the Ravens? I don't know. And that's their D is not what they were. So that's the thing. But I think the Steelers are playing well enough on defense. But can they stop Lamar Jackson? And can they stop some of the offensive firepower, especially the tight end? Tight end is really good.
And I'm always reminded, when you play a division game, this is a division game, and it's for the playoff, maybe a playoff team, the one that might have a chance to go into the playoff. It's one of these games to where, in and everything is on the table.
Yes.
And so it got to be a perfectly schemed game, no mistakes. You're looking for the big plays here and there, but I definitely have to go with Lamar Jackson.
The Steelers won last time now. The Steelers did win last time.
They won at home.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so
that's something that we'll look at. 49ers and the Rams. The Rams beat them down. The Rams
49ers are playing good football.
49ers beat them. And the 49ers I'd be afraid to play the 49ers in the play. Because I'm a huge Deebo Samuel fan.
Deebo, you know what Deebo means.
Yeah. Yes.
He's a bully.
That's why I'm a huge fan of his.
But Deebo, man, hey, he's having a Pro Bowl year, awesome year. He's the heartbeat of that offense.
Yeah, he is. He really is. And I mean, he finds a way. He's a lot like Cordell Patterson because he's not just a receiver. They put him in the backfield. He runs the ball, and they can put him in different positions to make him more effective. And
so I'm gonna give him a nickname. Give me the ball. That's all. Give me the ball. That's Deebo for you, baby. Now the 49ers, man, they looking good, and like you said, nobody want to play them. And so
you got to remember, Kittle is playing at a different level right now.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. He's playing at that.
Yeah.
Somebody asked that I was never scared of anybody. Shoot, I was too crazy to be scared of anybody.
Once you strapped your helmet on, Jim, you didn't look at nobody. You just say, "Hey,
I was mad at the world. I was mad at the world."
hey, you said, "I got to get this done today."
They took my cornbread.
Who took my cornbread?
You want that cornbread? But
that's one thing. Hey, Jim, that's one thing people don't know. You don't mess with a man, especially a country man, cornbread.
That's right. They don't understand that. But somebody, Jaron asked, does Trey Lance change your opinion of the 49ers? That's an interesting. I thought Trey Lance did a good job last week when he figured out to throw it to Kittle.
Absolutely. You got to throw it to the Kittle and Deebo. You got to give the ball to your playmakers, right?
I agree.
So if Trey Lance can come in and manage the game, and now that he gets his confidence up, each game he gets confidence up.
Exactly.
I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, and he's got weapons behind him. Yeah.
Yep.
What was his first clue? When Kittle caught the ball and was running, I was like, wait a minute, I'm throwing to him more than once. I'm going to try to keep throwing to him. They better cover him.
But you know what? Teams that win, they have their tight ends in the flow of things.
No question.
In the scheme. Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Now, here's an interesting game is the Chargers and the Raiders. A lot of people think the Chargers are the next best thing, but the Raiders are playing pretty good now.
Yeah.
And they got, like you said, that this is going to be a good game with the Chargers and Raiders, I think.
Both are 9-7.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams get a chance to hit that 10-game win season.
Yep.
But it's the Ravens. The Ravens is at home, right? The Raiders at home.
Yes.
Raiders at home. But you know what? The Chargers, man, they got some playmakers.
Yeah, but they
Justin Herbert.
I agree with you, but they haven't been healthy all year.
Yeah,
fully healthy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So that's the little bit of an issue with Mike Williams with his and all their injuries they've had. I think that's hurt them, and they had some COVID issues too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I just think I'm leading more to the Chargers just because of some things that they can do, and I just think the Raiders they missing a playmaker here and there. They star wide receiver. They not. If they tight end was still playing that, it might be
Waller's supposed to play this week.
Oh, he does?
Yes, doesn't come down to heart. It always comes down to heart. Who wants it more? Who wants it?
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, the Raiders gonna be hard to beat.
Yeah, Waller would be back. So let's look at the playoff picture and some of the teams that are in it right now. Obviously, Kansas City would be the first team. They've been to the playoffs the last 2 years. They lost last week. But
the Cincinnati Bengals, boy.
Bengals.
They can put some points on your butt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jamar Chase, 1,429 yards as a rookie.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And that's the question I want to ask you. Should these records have an asterisk because you're playing 17 games as opposed to 16 games?
Yeah, no doubt. Because, when the NFL went from 12 to 14, now you one from 14 to 16, now you're going from 16 to 17 games. They should. It absolutely should, because it's 14 games versus 16 games, or 16 games versus 17 games.
I would.
They were talking about Harris with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Franco Harris. Franco did it in 14 games, and he doing it now.
Harris,
in 17 games.
Yeah, and then Cooper Kupp had actually mentioned that. He said there should be a different category for 17 games as opposed to 16 games. He said that's the only fair way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what they should do.
Mm-hmm. And when you talked about Cincinnati as their second seed right now, and you also have Higgins. You talked about Chase, but Higgins is playing good. Now, here's an interesting thing that might happen this week. Joe Mixon is out of he's on the COVID list.
Right.
Barrows is not playing. They're resting his knee.
Right.
Kansas City, I know they lost last week to Cincinnati, but they're still, I would say they'd be the odds-on favorite. I still think Kansas City, because Cincinnati beat them by a field goal. Cincinnati at the end. So I would still think Kansas City has the upper hand. That's just my humble opinion on it.
Well, the Kansas City is 11-5, and the Bengals are 10-6.
Yeah, I know, but I just think the reason is because you'll get Hilaire back. You got still nobody's figured out how to get all of Kelsey and Tyreek Hill and those guys. Yeah,
Tennessee is the number one seed in the AFC right now.
Yeah, they do have Tennessee as the number one seed.
Yeah, they're the number one seed.
Now that's a hard one because Derrick Henry practiced today.
Derrick Henry looked good. Hey, he was like, man, I'm ready to come back.
So we didn't even talk about that yet. That's true. And
Tennessee, they go to Houston this weekend.
Yeah, so they should be okay in Houston. I don't think they would flop there.
They shouldn't. They shouldn't.
Yeah, but you never know. And then Kansas City's in Denver.
And Mike Bagel, the head coach, I think he's up for the Coach of the Year award.
I agree. He
have done a great job this year.
Yeah, because everybody was saying Belichick, but I would agree with you on Vrabel.
The two coaches of the Coach of the Year is Mike and Matt LaFleur, Green Bay. He done won two back-to-back NFL seasons. The way he has done a great job being able to manage somebody like Aaron Rodgers. He never did bad mouth him or nothing. He just went about his business like a professional way. And But to win 13 games, 14 games last year, 13 games, whatever, he's doing a great job of coaching.
Yeah, somebody asked what made Tennessee good without Henry. I think it was coaching, and I think they do have some.
It was definitely coaching and then game planning. I think they had great game plans.
They utilized the talent they had. So, and then Derrick Henry coming back is a game changer. We have to see what kind of physical condition he is, because obviously being a running back, he's going to take, and then the kind of player is, he's going to take a load. So,
but you know what I love about Derrick Henry coming back. They can't load up the box.
No, they can't. No,
but they got their receivers getting healthy too, so they got a little pass game and run game.
Yeah, you playing against
complete offense.
You have a defensive lineman with Myles Garrett playing in the defensive backfield. That's what you have with Derrick Henry. You got a defensive lineman playing in the offensive backfield.
No doubt. Yeah. And the offensive line is playing good. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point.
Yeah. And that is a good point. The offensive line might be the best offensive line in the league.
Yeah, because they was initially talking about Cincinnati offensive line, but then I saw where a stat came out. Kenny Burrows had been sacked more than any quarterback in the league. So I said, what happened to the offensive line?
Yeah, and back to Cincinnati, I know we talked about Mixon, Perrine, and Chase and Higgins, but don't you think Zach Taylor deserves a little something about being the coach of the year, what he's done with Cincinnati?
Absolutely.
Zach Taylor's done a tremendous job with it. I got the wide receiver coach is a real good friend of mine, Troy Walters.
Mm-hmm.
His father was a long-time NFL and college assistant. And I think Troy's done a tremendous job. And there's a guy, he played in the NFL and he managed personalities. I mean, with Higgins and Chase and guys like that. And he got him to play at a high level. So you got to give Troy some credit for that.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's the coaching style and the way he have managed that team, man, is and then you have to be a good coach this year because of the COVID situation.
Oh, no question. Because you don't know, you might have your star player out. And Cincinnati's done a nice job. The next team out there is Buffalo, and they play the New York Jets. So Buffalo and the New York Jets play. And Buffalo is an interesting team to me. You never know which Buffalo team. We talk about Lamar Jackson, but I worry about Josh Allen. Same I worry about Jackson. He's getting hit a lot.
But the Jets are going to Buffalo, and I just feel sorry for the Jets. They might always just stay in New York and just go and chalk up a win for the
get the fishing poles ready, go fishing.
Yeah, they going fishing. But
that's an NBA thing.
But check this out. You have to give the Jets some credit. Yeah. They did play hard.
They played hard against
Tampa Bay.
At the end, they made some mistakes. They should have just kicked the field goals and they would have won the game.
Yeah.
Well, somebody said, "What's this about Roku? We on Roku!"
Hey, baby, we gonna be famous. We going worldwide.
Hey, we're worldwide now.
Yeah.
If I can speak German, I speak German. If I can speak Italian, I speak Italian. I can speak English. So good day, mate.
Well, one of the things we need to do, we need to come up with our dance, some type of dance. You need to come up with a sack dance. I'm gonna come up with a touchdown dance. How's that?
I used to have the killer whale. I might have to bring it out of retirement.
Roku, yeah, baby. We going worldwide. We're going famous.
We're already tonight. We worldwide.
You know I can dance anyway, though.
Yeah. You think you can dance?
But yeah.
But back to this stuff is Buffalo. I think it's going to be a little bit of a struggle for them. Obviously, they won the AFC East, and they're the 4th seed. And they're gonna play the number 1 seed, the number 1 wild card team. So that'll be New England. That'll be interesting.
Yeah,
because as long as the wind is not blowing, they got a chance in that. So in New England, I still like what the quarterback has done, and he's done a nice job for a rookie.
Yeah, he has. I saw him talking to Tom Brady. I saw him talking to Tom Brady after the game.
Yeah.
And seemed like Tom was getting him some insight of good job, continue to stay focused, grow and improve and things like that.
Yeah.
You're
talking about the Jets.
Yeah.
So New England, I agree. Now we got Indianapolis. What you were talking about is a dangerous team. Indianapolis.
Hey,
they lost.
All you gotta do is just say Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, that's all.
Jonathan Taylor and Carson Wentz is not having no mistakes, and the offensive line, you got to give them credit. The receivers are coming through.
Yeah, they are.
So you it's hard. I wouldn't want to be a team to play the coach.
No, I wouldn't want to play them either. I wouldn't want to play the coach. And the last team right now in the playoffs are the Chargers. And that'll be determined this week because they play the Raiders.
They play the Raiders.
Whoever wins that game is going to be in. And the other team is going to be going bowling, because I'm not going to say going fishing. They're going bowling.
Well, they definitely going home. They definitely gonna go to the house.
Yeah, it is. There you go. They go into the house. And like we've talked about that game already with the Chargers, Herbert, and some of the firepower they have. But David Carr, and they have some guys that can make plays too on the Raiders.
Well, one of the things, what's good about the last week and teams still having a shot to go to the playoff, you're going to be playing your hardest.
Exactly.
And there's no room for mistake.
No question.
You're talking about getting an extra check, things like that you be thinking about, And,
yeah, you really do. You really do. You think about it, and you like that check.
Oh, that playoff check, you can buy maybe some brand new shoes.
There you go.
Get a couple more diapers up there,
Yeah, those playoff checks brought my kids a lot of bottles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They like those Nikes and Pumas and stuff. So I had those Nikes and Pumas.
Yeah, you definitely can definitely buy brand name stuff, Your baby was spoiled, Jim. Your baby was spoiled, you know that.
You could ask them, they were on here a minute ago, were they spoiled? So
but I saw a picture of you and your lovely daughter at the Cowboys game.
Yeah.
You was smiling, you was over there crying because the Cowboys was trying to win the game. And Kyler Murray was kicking that.
Why we have to go talk about that? Let's talk about We'll talk about it.
No, we'll talk about the Cowboys later. We'll talk about the Cowboys.
Yeah. Cowboys finished at 2 and 3 or 4 seed. Back to Green Bay. Nobody wants to go to Green Bay. Nobody.
The show don't want to go to Green Bay.
No.
He go to Green Bay. He gonna probably put on a face mask or something, try to hide his face. He probably owes some people up there.
The only hope is a global warming, and people don't know this, that the Dallas Cowboys are the most penalized team in the NFL, as opposed to Green Bay Packers, which is the least penalized team.
So what do you think that's why? What do you think that's the reason? Why is that the reason? Why?
I think poor fundamentals by the Cowboys. They have talent, and they have.
Well, one of the players from the Cowboys are blaming the referees.
It's not the referees. And that's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
Blame the referees.
Right.
You got to add. The referees are going to do that. They're going to see the things, and you're the most penalized team. Obviously, you're going to get them, and that's just poor fundamentals to me. When you're doing it, I mean, some of those, and 99% of those calls were right. Yeah,
and one of the things we saw a couple of weeks ago, you have some referee crews that gonna call certain penalties, like pass interference. Dallas was a big part of that 4 or 5 weeks ago, where they called like all these pass interference on the DBs, right? And you got to know going into the game what crew is going to be refereeing your games, right? So you got to know that, and you got to know that certain things you can't do with these particular crews as referees.
No question. Now I'm gonna tell you a quick story. You talk about Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells would on Monday tell the team who's going to be the referees for the game and how they call the game. He's going to tell them if they call a lot of holding calls, pass interference, and he tell us as coaches, you got to let your players know this. And you can do that. You can know the percentage. You got all these analysts anyway, and you got all these guys that do that. And that's the thing. You have to make sure that your players know, hey, they call a lot of holding calls. They call a lot of pass interference. They call a lot of lining up in the neutral zone. Shoot, one time I lined 4 times in the neutral zone. They called it 3.
Yeah.
They could have called it 4. So that's not an excuse. That is to me, you have to correct that. And
absolutely
interesting, the guy who said it said that's not an excuse. We got to correct these things. It's Micah Parsons, and he's a rookie.
Yeah.
Rookie shouldn't be saying that. Van Der Esch is supposed to be a veteran, and he's saying things like this. That's not good.
That's not good at all. That's not good at all.
That's not good.
And that's just been, Micah Parsons just been playing lights out. And you have to take your hat off to this young man. And he's a game changer, difference maker, and good for Dallas that they got a great player, the 11th pick of the first round last year.
Yeah. And then have a mindset like that, because I never want to make if the guy was holding me, I let him hold me. I better not let him hold me again. And if I'm off sides, it's on me.
Hey, what was that insight that Too Tall told you when you first played? When you first started playing in Dallas, what was that? Was it something that you told him that I heard you hold a lot of stuff? I forgot what happened, but I thought Too Tall told you something to tell
Jackie Slater.
Yeah, Slater.
No, he told me to headbutt him.
Oh, headbutt him. Yeah, headbutt him.
Ed never gave me anything worse than that, because Jackie almost knocked me out. He headbutted me. He said, I know Too Tall. I've been taking that stuff since Jackson State, because they played against each other.
Yeah, headbutt. Yeah, the headbutt.
Ed was setting me up for that. I could have got CTE or concussion from that thing.
Well, I thought you were trying to get to the WWF.
No, not me. But
that's funny though. That's funny.
It was funny. But let's go over to the NFC.
Okay.
And we know who the number 1 seed is the Green Bay.
The number 1 seed is the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. Everything goes through, obviously, Lambeau Field. And that's a tough. The only thing that might be an advantage is if there's truly global warming, which I believe there is.
Okay.
It's a warm day in Lambeau. A warm day in the winter in Lambeau might be, 10 degrees.
Well, the only thing that I really appreciate Tampa Bay doing last year, they went to Green Bay and beat them up there. So they said my Cards are going to beat the Packers in Green Bay.
That's true.
Well, if they get Connor and those guys back healthy, but I don't think DeAndre Hopkins gonna come back. He was on the sideline on crutches.
Wow.
I don't think he's gonna be coming back unless they just want him to keep the weight off his ankle and things like that. So
yeah. So you're probably right. I think Green Bay is showing, like I said, they're the less penalized team in the NFL. And all the stuff that's been said about Aaron Rodgers, he found a way to block it out. And he's
the people you can't make those mistakes. You can't get penalized a lot.
That's right.
That really gonna set the plan in action on who gonna win and who gonna lose.
That's no question, because those penalties add up. And if they're self-inflicted wounds, you don't want self-inflicted wounds.
Yep.
So the next team,
they said Roy's gonna choke again.
Oh, we'd love to see that, but it ain't gonna happen.
I don't think. Hey, right now he the MVP. It's a lot of good guys, but right now he probably. Most of the sports writers was talking about how they would probably vote for him. Yeah. But a couple of guys said, they got a couple other people in mind.
What's interesting is Devontae Adams is a free agent. Rodgers has 1 more year. Are they going to pay him or are they going to franchise Devontae Adams? Because Devontae Adams, we talk about Rodgers. Devontae Adams is having a tremendous season.
I think they might franchise him, and he might want to just play under that I forgot how, maybe $20 million deal at 1 year, and then just see where he can go after that.
Yeah.
But Rodgers not going to be there too much longer no way though.
Yeah. But that's the interesting thing about that team is that we all talk about Rodgers, but those players love him because they know he can win for them.
They love him.
That's it. They love him.
He got a special relationship with him. You know,
he noticed that? He really does.
He was Devontae was driving around and he got a text and told him, say, you are the best player that I ever played with, while he was driving with his wife.
Yeah.
And he just say it just melted him. So what happened? He went out there game time Sunday and they turned the lights out on him. You know, stuff like that, little stuff like that, what Aaron Rodgers bring to the table, you know, and he bring that and he just give those players hey, I'm in it for life for you. Wherever you throw that ball, I'm going to get it.
There was a player that played for the Cowboys and the Texans that played for the Packers first, and now Aaron Rodgers told him that he wanted him back, and they brought him back.
Oh yeah.
It was the
number 18. Trying to think of his name. Yeah, exactly. He brought him back because Aaron Rodgers said, "I want him back."
Yeah, they brought him back. He's injured now, but they did bring him back. The next team is the LA Rams. Oh yeah,
Cobb. Randy Cobb. Randy Cobb. Man, we got football people on this.
Yeah, we really do. Next team is the LA Rams. You might be more of a fan of Stafford than I am. I think their defense is starting to really come along because obviously they're getting, because of Von Miller, they're getting one-to-one blocks and things like that. But I think the Rams scare me. I think Stafford scares me. But Cooper Kupp, somebody's going to be able to cover him. I think.
Well, nobody covering him all year. He's up for the MVP candidate too.
Yeah, he is.
And but I just think the Rams is one of those teams where if they hot, you don't want to play them.
That's true. That's true. I agree. Their defense is that good.
Yeah. So the 49ers and the Rams, for some reason, they just play each other. You know, they just
the 49ers beat the Rams last time.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Akers is coming back too, so they should have a better running game, wouldn't you think?
And really, I think so too. And I really think, you know, the Rams are playing at home, but it's not really home because they're gonna have a lot of 49er fans there as well.
Oh, no question. Yeah. I like, you know, I'm like I told you, I'm a huge Debo fan, you know, and I like obviously Kittle, but I'm a huge Debo. I think he plays the game. He could have played it any era. That's why I like him, because he's that kind of toughness.
Well, I think the 49ers gonna probably got an edge because they got to win to be in the playoff hunt. Yeah.
And now the next team is Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay struggled with the Jets last week, and they play Carolina this week. I think that's a little bit easy.
Yeah, they play. I think they played in Tampa, and I think they should be okay.
Yeah.
The Bucs they not have the Bucs and the Jaguars for some reason.
Yeah.
They two similar teams. They just seem like they're just playing the schedule.
Yeah,
you know?
In Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina. Yeah, the Carolina. Yeah, they're just playing the schedule. So
yeah, it looks like it. And as long as Mike Evans and Gronkowski doesn't take his shirt off, they should win this game. They should win.
Are you crazy?
As long as they take their shirt off and walk off.
Well, you know, Tom Brady gonna stick him real quick. He's gonna try to put up 30 points and go sit down.
Oh yeah. So I would give Carolina because, you know, I'm still a Matt Rule. I think he's gonna do a good job. Now he's getting a little pressure, but I think they just have to make sure. And somebody asked what happened to the Panthers. I think this is a unique situation. We're getting a lot of injuries in key positions.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I've never seen it. Christian McCaffrey, I said the same thing. Little running backs struggle in the NFL because of the pounding they take. And Christian can do a lot of things, but he's taken a immense that obviously the pounding has taken a toll on him.
Yeah, last 2 years. It's been hard on him.
And it is a bad contract with McCaffrey.
And Matt Rule, they had mentioned his name on a couple of college games. So I kind of threw him off too. So I don't know if the focus is there. I mean, you got to leave these guys alone.
You're right. So that'll be an interesting game. Dallas is number 4. They're the last. Obviously the
Dallas
the East. So
Dallas Mavericks.
You know it is. Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys?
I thought you were talking to Dallas Mavericks.
But Dallas is number 4 seed. And here's interesting. They play Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Now, Philadelphia's in, I think. Philadelphia's in, and they play Saturday. They have the COVID issue.
Right.
And Dallas is, they're a little bit embarrassed. But how are they going to react? That's what I want to know. Are they going to look at themselves in the mirror and say, hey, we got to stop all these penalties?
Well, the boss man spoke today on the news here in Dallas and said, hey, the starters going to play. We in it to win. So Jerry Jones and I already spoke. Yeah. Hey, we not letting our players rest. We going up there to play and get the momentum going into the playoff. They there to win it.
But my question is will they play the right way? Are they going to be out there doing the same things, holding and grabbing, running down the field, not looking for the ball and running into receivers? If they do those things, especially in Philly, they're going to be in a lot of trouble because I think you said it early in the season. Philly might have the fastest receivers in the league.
They got some good. Their receivers are coming around.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, Dallas don't need to look in the stands because the Philly fans, they gonna be all.
They're gonna be over. They're gonna be.
Just stay focused on what your assignment is and stay focused out there on that game. Yeah. And that's what Dallas needs to do. But I tell you another thing too, Jim. Their offensive line have been having a lot of penalties.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The offensive line, and they talk about the secondary, but when you don't get any pressure, that's when the secondary has all those penalties. They got to figure out a way to get consistent pressure without Parsons, because now when you put Parsons in the pass rush, that eliminates one person in coverage. Yeah, you got to get 4-man rush.
I'm gonna say this. I love watching Dallas defense. They are fun to watch. So I really appreciate the defense, the talent that they have. They can rush the quarterback. Their linebackers are able to run, fill the gaps, and the secondary is lights out. But they're gonna be very challenged this week.
Oh
in the secondary. But Trayvon Diggs 11 interceptions this year. Also, man, it's hard to get that many interceptions in one season. So hats off to the Cowboys defense.
Yeah, you're right. You're no question about it. Let's go down to the team that beat it. Your favorite team, Arizona Cardinals.
The team I picked from day one.
Yes, you did.
What I really love, they stopped the bleeding. They came to Dallas and took care of business. And I told you last week.
Oh, man.
Kyler Murray hadn't lost a game. 8 games. He came in and won his 9th game ever since he was in high school. It's just something about him coming to Dallas and playing in front of his home crowd.
Oh, my goodness. I got to hear this.
What?
I got to hear this.
I told you that.
Until the Cowboys beat Arizona, I'm going to have to hear this. We owned Arizona, but now they own us.
Well, I was happy to
see Seattle. That's not going to be an easy game.
Seattle, man, stick a fork in Seattle. They already going on vacation. I saw what they were talking about.
They're not going bowling yet. They're going. Pete Carroll's going to have one more game.
I know they wasn't going bowling. They were going out there to go fishing out there on the West Coast.
Over there in the Puget Sound.
Yeah.
But I got to give them credit because they did the things to win.
Who did they beat?
They beat the team from Texas.
The Houston Texans.
No, it was the other team from Texas.
I thought they played Detroit.
No, they did not. They played a team from Dallas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were imitating the team from Dallas. They thought they had the thing won. So we're in victory formation. We don't need to talk about that anymore.
I got to learn how to do that wallow.
Well, we got to come up with our own dances. That's trademark. He has a copyright on that. So you got to work.
I got to come up with my own dance then. Okay. Well, hey, week 18, last week.
And we got a couple of playoff. Actually, we got a couple of playoffs spots still available. So we'll see. We'll see.
Going down to the very last week. I didn't know you could dance.
Oh, I can dance now.
Well, this is the new year.
Hey, we'll see you all year now.